Man, that sunset is gorgeous.
Grill, patio, sunset. Hard to get better than that. Unless you're browsing Carvana's inventory while you soak it all in.
Oh, burger time.
So sit back, get comfortable. Carvana's got thousands of cars under $20,000 just waiting for you.
I could stay here forever.
Carvana, where car buying meets comfort meets convenience. Download the app or visit Carvana.com today.
Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself. Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte clear liners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you could pay with your HSA, FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
You better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, ah, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, we all made you watch
The
Notebook for our 200th and Mikey's final episode.
Aww.
It's sad, but this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's not over. It's never over.
I wrote y'all for a year after this. Negative reviews every day. That podcast was better with Mikey, right? 3.5 stars.
You can't give half stars.
I would say it. That's me writing out the review.
Oh.
He'd only give 3 and then just list the half in the dialogue portion.
Yeah. So when was the first time you guys saw this movie?
In theaters.
Oh, well, I am a white guy who's dated after the year 2000 so many times.
Right. No, Mikey. I mean, like, when was the first time you actually sat down and watched the whole thing top to bottom?
Probably when it was on DVD with a girl in college.
Okay.
I will say that this movie has twisted so many women in my age group to be terrible to date.
This movie, I think, is responsible for some of the breakups I've had.
It's so toxic in a way.
It's wild toxic. And so I saw this in theaters because this came out my junior year of high school. I was the target demographic. And we watched it at a million sleepovers after that because we didn't have Bridgerton at the time. And so if you were a horny teenager in like 2005, this was like all you had. We didn't have Colin and Penelope. So we had this. And I have never genuinely liked this movie. I feel like it always kind of irked me a little bit, but the sex scenes were chef's kiss and it's Ryan Gosling. So like you put up with it. But watching it today as an adult, I'm like, first of all, this drags so bad. This movie is paced crazy. And secondly, it's so sad that she never escaped her stalker. Like,
Paige.
For real.
How dare you? That is Rygos you're talking about. If Rygos stalks you, you take that spit to the face. You know what I'm saying? Although I'll say this, she should have been with J Mars for sure.
Thank you.
Like 1000% should have ended up with J Mars.
As an adult, I'm like, stay with James Marsden. He's gorgeous in this movie.
And is so, like, empathetic and nice and wonderful. And silly and fun and can dance. He's great.
I do not want to be a contrarian. I don't want to be.
Mikey, you're going to vote for her stalker?
I will say she felt some type of way. Okay.
In the pants for sure for Rygos. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they would have done the reveal of the mom having all the letters a little bit better, I could see things falling apart for her new relationship.
Yeah, sure.
I think the heartbreak that James Marsden is going to feel is her mom's fault.
Wouldn't it have been cool, like, after the dress fitting scene that she, like, goes around her mom's house and, like, finds the stack or something, and then, like, that's what makes her go?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to see what happened. I think they're terrible as the kids, but, like, the movie was not as toxic as I remember, but still very toxic. But I was like, okay, your parents are really bad to you. I'm so sorry.
I had a wild intrusive thought.
Yeah.
During the end when she like remembers, she's like, Noah. And I was like, if he instead had been like, no, it's Lon. Damn it. I'll never escape this guy. I would have laughed so hard. And
Oh,
like,
my God.
I was actively crying as it was happening because of my family's history with dementia. But I was like, that snapped me right out. I was dead. I was like, oh, that would be so funny.
No, it's not like they use it as an emotional manipulative device.
They totally do in this movie.
It's terrible.
It's also presented in a way that is not very realistic.
No, it's not. And they do explain that away with the whole where science ends, God appears or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But so like, I think narratively it's fine. It doesn't bother me because whatever, God exists in this universe. So cool. But I do think the whole end when like you're crying and you're sobbing and stuff.
Sure.
I'm also thinking in the back of my head, like, is it the wine? Did he poison the wine? Like I'm trying to figure out how he kills them. You know, so it's sort of like you're watching Clue on some level, and I enjoy that part of it.
Do you want me to unpack the theory?
Go, Mikey, go.
So I picked this movie because all throughout this podcast, I believe that this movie implies that there is a murder-suicide at the end of this film.
Mikey, it doesn't imply it. It shows it on the screen.
It's 100%.
It is.
It doesn't deny it. Let's put it that way.
She asks for it, and we don't see him, but we know he never doesn't fucking deliver.
I laughed out loud because she said, do you think our love could make a miracle? And he's like, absolutely. And literally next, like, cut to, they're dead. And I was like, was this the miracle? What's happening?
No, the second miracle was, do you think our love could take us together? And yeah, so that was her like, hey, can you
Wink, wink.
be the my love miracle and murder suicide us?
In that lens, their conversations have a different tone.
Sure.
I think all of the adult scenes play it going that direction.
Yeah, on a rewatch, yeah.
Yeah, when he cries on the bed and then he tells the doctor, yeah, I take my meds day or night. I think after his heart attack, he was like hoarding meds because he realized she was getting worse and he was getting worse.
Yes. And that's why he went to the hospital, because he wasn't taking his meds. So he like passed out or whatever and then was gone for a few days and was like, I got to do it tonight.
Or he got them at the I think he came back ready to do business.
Oh, he was definitely ready to do business.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of the will that nurse got.
Oh, because as I was writing my notes and the nurse was like, I'll come back and check on you in a few minutes. Like, clearly, like, I'm not going to check on you. I'm going to let you go murder your wife.
Oh, yeah.
And I was
She
like,
ducks
oh, she's
out.
an accomplice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When she walks in at the end and holds her mouth, she is not saying, but very visibly, I'm about to get fucking fired.
I'm about to lose my job.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. She's like, I thought he was just going in there to cuddle. I didn't know they took a bunch of heart meds together.
Yeah, I'm gonna need an alibi, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who can't testify in court? Coffee.
I really think that's what happened. I think he's been planning it for a while. I think this movie shows his steps deceivedly.
I think, honestly, had she chosen differently, this end would have happened way sooner. Because he is very obsessed with her in an uncomfortable way on some level.
Watching the movie through that lens, you're like, he's displaying a lot of red flags
Yes.
throughout the film. But also, I read the book
Yeah.
of this movie.
Oh, tell me everything.
Yeah, tell us.
If memory serves, let me double check. It's been a long time. I don't think they died together. I think she passed away and he lives. Let me double check.
That doesn't sound like the notebook I watched tonight.
No.
The book ends mentioning that Noah and Allie share a romantic moment where the movie seems to point directly to the fact they pass away together in the night. Yes.
So wait, in the book, do they die in the hospital together?
The book doesn't confirm it.
Oh, okay.
He does have a stroke, but then he comes back, so that's kind of similar. And he does sneak into her room on their anniversary, and quote, a miracle happens where she recognizes him.
So I mean, all that's in the movie so far.
All that's in, but it does not point directly that they pass away together. They just share a romantic moment, and that's it. And I want to say there's a sequel.
So the director of this movie had to call Nicholas Sparks and be like, hey man, you know that really sweet ending you wrote? what if I have her kill him and then kill himself at the end?
Oh, yeah.
And Nicholas Sparks was like, perfect.
Yes. Okay. So The Notebook actually has a sequel. That's what I thought.
What?
Yes.
Is it The Trapper Keeper? What is it going to be?
No, it's called The Wedding, and it's about one of their kids. So it follows the life of Noah and Allie's daughter, Jane, and her husband, Wilson, while they're planning their daughter's wedding, and Wilson decides he needs to basically win his wife back, recourt his wife to save their marriage. But in that book, Noah is still alive and is like kind of coaching him on it, where it's almost like, I won your mom back. Here's how you win your wife back. So yeah, Noah doesn't die, at least as far as I remember from my Nicholas Sparks phase in high school.
Well, that gives me more credence to my theory.
Yeah.
That he made these changes on purpose.
Fully murdered her.
And the doctor, guys, does a physical evaluation on the man, and he's fine.
Yeah.
And he oversells that he's taking the pills, I think, in this scene.
I think he does. I think he's like 2 every morning and 2 every night or whatever.
In 10 days, that's 40 pills.
Just enough, Mikey.
Okay, spoiler for from people who have had elderly relatives in this situation. Even when the doctor says he's fine, like there is a point to where you're like, you're fine for you. Like you're however many years old, we can only expect so much.
Yeah.
So considering that, you're fine.
Yeah.
So like, here's the other part. This is gonna get dark for a second. I apologize. A lot of the medication that they give you when you have dementia or Alzheimer's kills your other organs. Like that's how people with those diseases eventually die, is that one or more of their organs fails. Especially like my grandma's case, she had dementia for 15 years, just walking around.
Yeah.
You know, because she was a fairly healthy lady and it took a long time.
Yeah. There's a lot of things where the treatment is what ends up killing you. I mean, cancer is
Right.
similar for some cancers, and yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, but towards the end, when my grandma was like 90, and they're like, I don't know, do you think we should run some tests? And everyone was like, for what? Like, not that we don't love her and don't care about her, but like, at a certain point, she has to keep taking this medication and this medication. So like, your tests are going to show that that's killing her. But what are the other options? There really aren't any. So
all I hear you saying, Paige, is that like you're on James Garner's side in this, like, should I murder suicide my wife? That's all I'm hearing right now.
I'm not on his side. No, I'm kidding. I'm not on James Garner's side. Please don't take other people's lives.
I would also argue that she does say that. Like, I do think she wants that. Question mark?
I think she had a Shutter Island moment. You know, at the end of Shutter Island where he's like, I'd rather die a man who knows what's going on than live miserably or whatever. And he winks at
Mikey, I've never seen Shutter Island.
Todd's
I've
still
only
never
heard
seen
you
Shutter
explain
Island.
it to
He's
me.
only heard us talk about
Yeah.
it.
Oh my God.
I don't love it.
I can only watch 2 movies a week, and I don't think that fits into either. Wait, is it a rom-com?
No.
I don't love it either. I love the concept of doing an elaborate
ruse to try.
elaborate ruse to snap someone into sanity through a haunted house.
Which is why I don't understand why you don't like 50 First Dates more, because it's just beach Shutter Island. But fine.
I think it's the sexual relationship that he has with the disabled lady.
You don't know that people aren't banging Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. There's got to be a 25-year-old around there somewhere.
He's not psychotic.
Oh, maybe too old, Paige.
That's fair.
So Todd, at the end of Shutter Island, they've restored sanity to Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's still
temporarily.
He like says the wrong things on purpose to get a lobotomy because he's like, I'd rather die than feel like this again, or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Which I think she does as well.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that was a very strange way of saying, yes, Todd, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, there's other movies that do. I think the last page of her little notebook says, kill me.
No, it says, I will always come back to you, which is very sad. But I feel like people underestimate how stressful it could be to feel lost all the time. Like, all the time. So I get it.
I will openly admit that this is one of the scariest things to me. Like, this is one of the things I am most scared of as I get older. It's terrifying.
For me, it's stairs, but sure.
Well, statistically,
it's both stairs or my romantic partner.
right. And sometimes it's both if the documentary The Staircase is to be believed.
Sometimes it's an owl.
It surely is an owl. It's definitely not the second time that guy has killed someone with stairs.
But yeah, no, Jake and I both have memory disorders in our family history. So we're just eventually going to be wandering around this house being like, who the hell are you?
You're hot, though.
I don't trust it. You're hot.
Well, this is the most romantic murder-suicide I've ever seen.
I will definitely put it at the top of my list of sexiest suicide murder movies. Yes.
Sexiest true crime films, sure.
There's this. There's the Black Dahlia.
And Long Kiss Goodnight.
They didn't die of a broken heart. You know what I mean? It's not. They didn't Padme themselves to death up there.
What does that even mean? Padme themselves to death.
Because Padme dies of a broken heart.
Yeah, after she burst the twins, remember?
Oh, I mean, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, after she wiffle balls the twins out of her snatch, she dies of a broken heart.
Yeah, I thought that was just their way of telling me, a dumb child, that like she had pregnancy complications and passed away.
No. They were safely wiffle balled out.
The medical droid was like, her will to live is gone because of broken heart. And you're like, oh.
And then he's like, I'm off to play Highlight. And you're like, that makes sense, given what you look like.
Highlight is such a good pull. I love that. Yeah. So listen, do I think it's a perfect movie? Yes.
No.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I cry so much when I'm watching this. Literally, the only thing that stops me at the end is thinking, oh, he's about to murder her.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing that'll pull me out of the sadness.
I think it's so brave to do it, though.
Oh, it is. I think it's brave to do it so overtly.
Yeah.
Like, this director isn't hiding anything.
This movie's got everything, Paige. It's got sexy sex scenes.
It
got
does
World
have
War
great
II.
sex scenes. It does have World War II.
It's got bearded Ryan Gosling.
It's got Ryan Gosling, like, ooh.
It's got a friend getting blown in half at Bastogne.
It's got teenagers falling in love toxicity drama.
Oh, yeah.
He built a Mojo Dojo Casa house for her.
He did.
He did, Paige.
With an art studio.
That overlooks the lake
Exactly like she wanted.
and a big porch. Exactly everything she wanted.
I will say that this movie did his dad dirty by just being like, and then he died 2 weeks later.
I forgot his dad was even in it. I was like, his dad could kind of get it. What's going on? Nice family resemblance, y'all.
Agreed.
He's a dead man, Paige.
I will say that this is a romantic epic, like a movie I watched for the podcast, but we never got to do, The English Patient.
Oh, The English Patient. You want to cry.
I tried to watch that once and fell asleep.
Oh, so you didn't get to the part where you cry until your body hurts?
No, I did not. I think they were in England, and that's as far as I got.
And one of them was a patient.
But I wasn't, so I fell asleep.
Oh, boo.
It's so good.
Listen, I'm sure one day you'll come back and make me watch it. But until then, I'm not going to check it out.
That's fine.
That's fair.
It's about as toxic as this, but they're in a war.
Yeah.
I did think that her mother in this was a full-on villain.
Holy shit, yes.
Just truly terrible all the way through the movie. And I think the last thing she does is the worst.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's finally honest, but at the worst time.
Yeah,
Yes.
like she takes her daughter to like this guy she used to like hook up with, like job, and he's just like, it's a menial job they've been looking down on the whole movie.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's your dad. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy to do to Rachel McAdams' character.
It's not her dad.
It fully is her dad. Do the math, Paige. She was 17 when it started.
Fuck, that's
it
a
took
good one.
7
That's
years
pretty
to
good
get to
too.
that point in the movie. That's
I know.
24. If you add the 9 months, that's 25.
I know.
She
I know.
is that man's daughter.
When she said 25 years ago he was hot take, that man was still hot.
That man could still get it, Mikey. Say it.
Yeah.
He probably got them like hard work muscles.
Yeah. She's full villain. And then for Rachel McAdams to like sympathize with her during this scene, I would be, as soon as you showed me the fucking letters, I've been like, you ruined my life.
Yeah, I'd be like, bitch, we're done.
Yeah, you have put me in maybe the worst position I will ever be in my life because you sabotaged a relationship where I love someone and didn't let it naturally end. And now I'm trying to move forward and now I'm being pulled backwards and you caused this.
Yeah.
She did cause it because that relationship would have ended. It would have ended
Yeah,
naturally.
maybe.
But because they had that so much time apart and are both sort of maybe like obsessive people, like they just built up this thing so much that, I mean, he had to kill her, guys.
I think it would have ended because they were so young and so immature, but then like they both go to war and then reconnect like 7 years later. And now it's like their obvious toxic flaws are a little bit less later on. And I'm like,
Right, because they've become a little bit older.
but
yeah.
they still have the romanticism of your first love in your teens and 20s. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
like, so the mom really set it up.
And how good does it sound as a story? Like,
Right.
that's another part of it in your head of like, how cool would this be to tell my grandkids, I guess.
That is a thing. That's crazy, but that is a thing.
That is the thing. I feel like watching it this time, realizing, because I always disliked the mom for her bullshit, but I thought that she had some absolution later. Watching it this time, I'm like, oh no, full villain, and it made me hate every scene with her.
Yeah.
They're like celebrating the wedding dress and all this stuff, and I was like, fuck all y'all. Y'all can all eat a dick. All y'all, except for James Marsden. Those beautiful eyes.
Jamie Mars, he deserves better.
He's an innocent bystander.
He is.
Yes.
He is caught up in this terrible family's orbit.
I am very glad that they did not give him a toxic trait that these movies typically do for the other guy.
Same.
Sure.
Honestly, he's a great dude, and he will find some. I'm not worried about him, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I feel bad for her because she ended up with Rygos on some level.
Well, they obviously ended up and had a great life because
Yes,
it shows
yeah.
us. So, like, it reinforces its decisions at the beginning so you don't have that mentality.
That's true.
Right.
You're right.
So that's how they trick you. That's how they get you in there.
yeah.
But I mean, we watching it, I had more empathy for Noah and what's her face.
Allie.
I had more empathy because of the mom is such an overt villain more than I've ever seen it before.
Yeah.
Where I do think they would have broken up because they were teenagers. They were all over the place.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I would do in that situation. That would be a very hard situation to live through.
Yeah.
Where you fall in love with someone else, but you really loved this guy, and then he did right you, and then all the reasons to hate him and like disappear in an instant. Those kind of emotions have to be insane to deal with. And then you go visit,
Yeah.
and he built you that house.
Built you the fucking house.
He built you that house every day for a year, Paige.
every day for like 7 years.
He made his dad work on that house every day until he died.
He killed his dad in that house.
FOMO's not the right word for it, but I think it's like if she had just gotten those letters, you're right, they probably would have just grown apart. But now they've spent all this time wondering what happened to the other person, and now they've reconnected, and now she's like, oh my God, he did write to me, which is reinforcing
Yes.
an artificial closeness.
Yes.
Like in that moment where they're in that like exciting, oh my God, we just boned. And then also these letters, holy shit, are you the one? Oh my God.
He's unfinished business. I think the movie does a good job. I can't believe I'm actually almost liking the film. I can't even believe it.
Mikey, to be clear, I love this movie, so don't feel bad about it.
When she gets out of the car and looks up at him and shrugs, I mean, I think that's a real emotion of like, I'm just going to see what happens because this is unfinished.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I do think the movie shows us like way earlier than that moment that they do end up together. So like, we're fine with that because we know they end up together. But like, if we hadn't had that.
They didn't run off and get married as soon as she showed up because I don't think she knew.
Exactly.
And I don't think he
Yeah.
knew. I think they had
Right.
all of this unfinished stuff. And I'm glad it worked out for them until he murdered her later. But
Exactly.
so I felt like the movie did it. I think that shrug was a really powerful scene for me where I was like, she doesn't know if this is the right thing, but she's going with her heart and she needs to see what happens with this. And I thought it did pretty good with that. The whole thing before the whole when they're children relationship was just not good.
Which, by the way, is a full 30-minute act, a full act one of almost all montages.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Fucking love a montage.
This is actually probably going to be a fairly quick episode because not a whole lot happens.
No, there really isn't much A or B, like A plot, B plot. It's all like montages of them coming back into each other's lives.
The B plot is the murder.
The B plot is the murder because he be murdering.
He'd be murdering.
Yeah. You know that ABM,
He always be murdering.
not what Mikey did in his bathroom
Oh, BM.
on the floor.
I get it.
Boom.
Never forget the time that Mikey shat on a floor.
That was our 10-11.
That's what I want to talk about on the last episode over and over again.
That was our 10-11.
I'm going to make a shirt that's just the poop emoji and then a thing that says that was our 10-11.
Sir, a second plop has fallen on the mat.
Yeah, it was the second turn has hit the floor of the shower.
A second plop has left the anus.
I'll have no other place to do 9/11 jokes from now on. I'm going to be really sad.
You're going to have to do them at work where I don't think they're going to go on as well.
Mikey, I think you'll find a place.
Like Twitter? I'm making a bot account of just 9/11 jokes.
No, Mikey, I think the problem is you'll make them and then your best friend won't edit them because you can't edit live conversations. And then, you'll be looking for work.
You hear that, Mikey? Todd thinks he's your best friend.
Yeah. I wrote him every day for a year, Paige. And I said, stop talking to me.
Hi,
hi,
hello. Fine, you fucking bitch. That's like today's version of it.
Fine, I'll join your podcast. No, Mikey wanted to join initially. He was
did.
excited. Yeah.
I stayed a long time.
Yeah, no one
I
said you
know.
didn't.
Implication.
No, I just wanted to make it clear that I didn't have to beg you.
Okay, if I would have done it again, we did too many Christmas horror movies the first year.
Definitely
Fair.
too many
Fair.
Christmas horror movies. Yeah. Are we going to do like a whole retrospective? All right. So who did you hate the most as a guest?
Ooh, that's a
Also,
good...
this is horror. This is not horror version. This is Romancing the Pod. I realize
right,
that we've
my
talked
bad.
about a lot of murder.
Paige, we're in charge here. This is my notebook, and I get to murder it how I please.
And Mikey gets to murder suicide anyone he wants at the end.
Oh boy, am I glad I'm states away.
Who is my least favorite guest? Oh my gosh. I'd say Todd.
Yeah, that's fair. So, well, do you guys just want to go through this movie scene by scene?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it.
We open on 3 minutes of the slowest fucking credits we've seen on this series.
And it literally is just a dude rowing and an old woman like staring at him.
Yeah, and birds.
Which, listen, I get it. It's like, it like works out the shoulders.
Yeah.
So they're broad, Paige. I get it. I get why you stare at this window the whole night. I get it.
This is me as an old lady just being like, oh yeah, slower.
It's probably going to be you standing at the window, but Jake like cutting wood and him just being like, can I come in? And you're like, no, leave the kilt on.
Keep mowing the lawn. Yeah.
He's a rower, not a grower. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying, ladies?
Anyway, he be rowing. And they're like, come along, old Allie, that we will definitely realize is Allie and Noah moments later. It's time for bed. We also meet James Garner, who's living in the same nursing home.
Yeah.
We find out that his name is Duke, although we will find out that his name is Noah. I don't know why they call him Duke. I forget from the book. I'm sure it was a thing.
I assume he's a British royalty.
Because he likes mayonnaise on his sandwiches.
What?
Oh, because Duke's mayonnaise. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know Duke was a mayonnaise.
Trying to think of what nicknames you'd pick up in a nursing home.
I'm hoping for like a Bitsy, like a fun old lady name.
Bitsy is a fun old lady
Yeah.
name. You're right.
Dude, I'm going to be such an asshole when I'm old.
Oh, only when you're older?
Only?
I'm dropping the C word.
You're going to slide into staying an asshole?
Yeah, but it's like better when you're old because like no one can do anything.
That is the best part.
I'll go to the movies and if they like do something, I'll be like, fuck you. Stop.
And they're like, you want some of this, old man? And then you do the like righteous gemstones, you break people's thumbs.
I'll be like, yeah, fucking kill me. Murder me with your fists. I want you to go to prison for life. I'm willing to die for a nice movie tonight. Fucking failure.
And I'm over here like, call me Boots. I have a great aunt named Boots. And then her sister went by Hootie.
Hootie and the Boots fish.
Boots and Hootie. I love an old lady who's like, call me Titties. And you're like, what? And she's like, it's not weird. And you're like, it is, Gertrude.
It's very weird, grandmother. Please stop.
But don't stop.
What would my old man name be?
I mean, I feel like old guys
Tossifer.
don't get as fun. What?
Tossifer.
Tossifer? Okay.
It's got like way more syllables than my actual name.
Toddington.
Yeah.
Toddington, babe.
I don't know. You could get a longer one like Toddington, or you could just go by Mr. T. Get off my lawn! Okay, Mr. T. I pity the fool that stays on my lawn.
Why aren't you wearing pants? I don't have to. I'm 84 years old.
I wore layers for long enough. Anyway, essentially, he gets his medication, and he's like, it's a big day today. And they're like, you say that every day. And he comes into her room, and he's like, hey, I want to read to her. And they're like, it's not a good day, because here's the thing about memory disorders. Some days there's not good days. Some days are surprisingly good days. There's really no predicting it.
I think that's what this is setting up. Like, he's the only one that thinks it's gonna be a good day. Everyone's like, no, it's not, bro. They're like 99% bad days.
Yeah, and that is the thing. Is like the longer it progresses, the ratio of good days to bad days, it's more bad days.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, I'm going to read to you. Great. So we start the flashback portion of the film.
Do you think he read the sex scenes to her? Like, he put his cock
yeah.
inside her.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so, except that the sex scenes in the book were not as good as the movie.
Oh.
It's one of the few times that's happened. The sex scenes were very, and the next morning. Fuck y'all.
He definitely read him real slow to her, Mikey. Real slow.
Yeah.
He ran his hand up her thigh.
Why did it echo? Actually, you know what the thing is? She wrote it. So, like, at the end, I think he has to read it word for word because she wrote that book.
That's true. She wrote it, and he's reading
Yeah.
her book to her. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me how you ream me from behind on the haunted piano
Oh,
while
yeah.
my fiance was at the hotel down the street.
Yeah, read me from behind, Daddy. It's just real gross.
Noah spit in her mouth. Wait, what?
Hey, it's not me.
It's not like it's us. It's just a story.
And that's when I, from behind, fish hooked you and
Look, Ryan Gosling is on the spit list, obviously, right?
How could he not be?
Right. Okay. He earned it.
That man is Ken.
Yeah.
He's enough for you.
He's Knuff. It was a real weird blonde that they chose for him in that movie, but I'm okay with it.
Oh, you mean the Barbie blonde, Paige?
I know.
How dare you?
I know.
Woman-splain blonde hair to Rygos.
What's your favorite Rygos? Like, what's your peak Rygos?
Can I tell you something funny?
Sure.
I knew we were doing this movie and I didn't want to watch it yet. So while I was at that convention the first 2 days of this week in Denver, I was like, I'll just check out another Ryan Gosling movie I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I just turned on All Good Things.
Did you watch it?
That was on, I think, Netflix or HBO. And I was like, oh, holy shit, this is exactly the Robert Durst case.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, like, this is the director that, like, he made that movie and then immediately went to do Jinx after that movie.
There you go.
It was wild. He's really good in it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Rygos, though.
My favorite Rygos?
Mine's The Nice Guys.
I do love
Nice
the Nice
Guys is a great Rygos.
Love the Nice Guys. I like the new Blade Runner.
New Blade Runner was also really good.
Yeah, Blade Runner's slow for me, but he's really good in it. Like, I think Ryan Gosling is one of the better actors of his generation.
Very much like Barbie with his performance there.
Of course.
Yeah, like Drive, he's so good
Drive,
in Drive.
I love
and he's
Ooh.
so quiet. Like, it's all physical and like he's very good. Even Natalie said this when we were watching it tonight. Like, he's very good at like conveying emotion with his eyes.
Yeah.
In a way that is like uncharacteristic even of actors. Like, he's just good.
I gotta rewatch Drive, man.
Fuck, dude, that elevator scene. Oh,
Yes, when he just like pushes her behind. Oh,
fuck, Paige.
Yes.
Are you serious?
yeah, I'll slide off my chair if I think about it too hard.
I know. He steps on a dude's head in half and then kisses
Love
her.
it.
Like, how could you not be into it?
How could you not? Remember the Titans. Most people forget he was in Remember the Titans, but it's a cute young Rygos.
Oh, yeah.
It is, yeah. It's before this, right? It
Oh yeah, way before this.
was back when they were taking the state championship.
Yeah, it's 4 years before this, but he doesn't do a
Yeah.
ton in between except for Murder by Numbers, which is also a fucking wild movie, which is back when he was dating Sandy B, because they briefly dated for a while.
That's right.
Sandy B.
Mhm.
What?
Sandy B.
Like Bullock?
Yeah.
Isn't she like way older than he is?
Yeah, and it was like a scandal at the time.
Good for her. Good for her.
Mhm.
All right. Turning that Gosling into a swan. All right. I did think it was awesome that he does like canoe her around a bunch of Goslings and he's a Gosling. And I was like, this is perfect.
I think those are swans and goslings are geese, right?
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
it's close enough,
Whatever.
right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's yes and, not a no, actually.
Who cares about birds, right? They're all fake drones for the government anyway.
Oh, man, they had so many cameras on them.
Yeah, that's so they could really capture that sex scene.
That's why God made it rain.
Yeah.
And by God, I mean Hoover, I guess, at this time.
Anyway, we cut to the flashback portion where he is at a carnival with that other guy from Entourage.
Baby. Yeah, Paige. For never having seen Entourage, I'm very impressed that you keep picking up on me calling this guy E from Entourage.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I do, because that's all I remember him from. But he's good.
I've seen him in other things. I just never remember his name.
Yeah, he's a great actor, but I don't ever remember his actual name, and I feel terrible about it.
So they're 17 years old. They're playing carnival games. He sees Rachel McAdams with Finn, who is E's name in this movie, his girlfriend, Sarah.
On the bumper cars.
Yeah.
And he's just like, ooh, nice. So he walks up to her after the bumper cars and is like, dance with me. And she's like, no. And walks off with his other group of dudes and gets on the Ferris wheel. He then climbs up the Ferris wheel and sits between them and is like, hey, will you go out with me? Which is such an uncomfortable situation. And when she's like, how about no?
Yeah.
He climbs out and hangs and threatens to kill himself.
Yep.
And she's like, fine, if you just get down.
This is not a great way to start.
Yeah, this is a bad. And then she pulls his pants down. But like, he threatens to kill himself to get her affection. And that's not good. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah. She agrees. She does agree. And then she pulls his pants down.
Yeah.
Then it fades to black. That pisses me off so much because I wanted to know what happened after that.
How did he get down, right?
Exactly.
How did he get down? Yeah.
With his pants down.
I also want to point out that Rachel McAdams is 17 in this scene. There's no way that Rygos is the same age because he has a full-ass job.
Oh, child labor was still legal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could have maybe still had a job.
I haven't read the book. I read him as like 20 or 21, like a little older.
Todd, back then you could just just leave the house at like 15 and go get a full-time job at your coal refinery and then like make your own house or whatever.
I mean, you're probably right. It was 1940.
In the book, he's only like a year or so older than her, and it is the summer after senior year.
Okay.
So they're like
Okay, so they're 18.
basically the same age.
Yeah, okay. So he's 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He graduated high school and he went to work doing his job.
Yeah. And it's also implied that he'd been working for a long time even while he was in school because his family was very poor.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we cut to the next day. She's walking with Sarah. He catches up to her and he's like, when are we going out? And she's just like, oh no, the crazy guy's back. And he's like, when are we going? And she's just like, I do not want to go out with you. This is no thank you. Absolutely not. She walks away.
And then he's like, well, I mean,
It sets her up as a liar early on.
It really does.
I don't think she is under any obligation to
course
go on that date page for the
I'm
record.
being a dick.
This is actually the first symptom of dementia because she forgot that she
No.
agreed to go out
Oh
with
my
him.
God, the signs were there so early, Mikey. You're right.
Oh no.
Man, I do think that like she was under no obligation to go, but also she like could have walked away and never looked back. Like,
Well, she does.
she was so close to being safe.
She does walk away, but what happens is that she has shitty friends because her friends are like, we're all going to the movies, and don't tell her that they have basically blind double dated her into going to the movies with him.
Yeah, well, I think it's because her friend, who is, I guess, E's girlfriend,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
at least girlfriend for the summer, knew that like she actually like sort of had the hots for Rygos, which of course she does. So like I thought that it was not planned. I don't think she was in on it.
Yeah.
But sort of set up because they knew it would go well, you know?
Now, I do think that Ryan Gosling is very attractive. I don't think she's going to
Sure.
fight this hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Me
mean
either, no.
that's fair, but he would have creeped me out. So like if my friends had done this after I was like, look, I told this guy no twice, I'd be pissed. I would be pissed.
But Paige, this is before the internet,
That doesn't mean anything.
where people just not giving up was an attractive quality, I guess.
I know. You hear about all our grandparents. It's like, he followed me to the bus stop for 48 days in a row. And so I finally said yes. Yeah, it's not good. It's real rough. Don't follow people.
Follow people.
People our age are like, I poked her on Facebook when I saw she was getting divorced.
Oof.
Like it's changed a little bit since then.
Can you still poke on Facebook?
Yes, you can.
I don't
and
know.
I am
I don't
reminded
know.
of it anytime I post any picture that has any kind of cleavage because I suddenly have a bunch of weird pokes.
Let me get on there right now.
I want to go ahead and say I've never poked anybody that I know of in my life on Facebook.
Yeah, no, I don't think I ever have. It's a weird feature.
I don't see it as an option.
It must be because it happens to me. So you must be able to do it somehow.
Time to Google this motherfucker.
Life pokes finds a way.
Anyway, in the movie, their friends are making out and they're sitting on either side of them.
There's a pokes page.
There you go. And so he moves to be near her on the other side.
Yeah.
And by the time the movie is over, their friends are going to go drive and make out and probably get teen pregnant somewhere. And then they're like, we're going to walk home instead. So
Yeah.
they walk. He accuses her of not being able to have fun because her family is controlling all of her choices. I was like, this isn't really a her problem. This is her family is awful problem. But
She also doesn't frame it that way. Like
Yeah.
she says, I'm always busy. And she doesn't seem to hate that she's always busy.
yeah,
And she's not like complaining that she's always busy. She's just like talking about the things that she enjoys learning and doing and stuff like that.
and that she's doing to try and set her life up.
And he's like, oh, it's a shame you're not free or
Yeah.
whatever. And she's like, what? I get to do anything I want.
like lay in the street.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm poking everyone.
This is such a bad idea.
There's just a long list, and I'm
You
just.
better not have poked me. Are you just poking people back?
You don't think I didn't poke you?
You better not be. You better not be. That's just one more notification for me to ignore.
Poke. Poke. Some of these people I haven't talked to in years.
Michael Randolph has poked you.
I got poked back, bro. She likes me.
What?
I poked you back, bro.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I feel it. Todd just poked me back.
feel the poke.
I just poked Natalie.
Feel the poke. I didn't even know you could do this still.
Are you going to be mad if I don't poke you back?
You know that's true.
Oh, damn. Apparently a few people have poked me multiple times in a row. Oh, if I go, not a single woman has poked me in
See, only women have poked me.
in 5 years. Not a single woman.
Although, Natalie, I'll say this. The only person who has poked me since we started dating was on January 23rd, 2019, guys.
Oh, man.
I haven't been poked in quite some time.
Oh, where do you see that? Where do you see the pokes you get? Oh, I had no pokes.
Oh, Mikey, that's sad for you.
In the last 8 years, only 2 women have poked me. Jesus Christ, this is the creepiest
Hang on,
feature.
search for Paige.
Why does this exist?
Why does it still exist? Poke.
Why does it still exist?
Well, Paige, I just want you to know I would never poke you. It's beneath me.
And it literally, as you were saying it, just showed up. Todd has poked you.
I've now sent out 67 pokes.
If you were lucky enough to get one.
You're welcome.
Well, if you poke somebody, doesn't it give you them access to your profile? Like if they don't follow, like if you have a private profile, isn't that a way to like see?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't
I
know.
have no idea.
It looked like my friends were ordered who I interact with most to least. And so I just went to all the ones I interacted with the most and then scrolled all the way down to the least and poked all those motherfuckers too.
I do love that there's like a not non-zero chance of when I said poking someone who they recently got divorced and getting married because of that. Like that could happen in this situation for Mikey.
This is true.
I didn't know it was in there. It's now a repertoire move.
I didn't realize that if you
Ladies,
saved
check your pokes.
if you saved a reel from somebody on Instagram, it notified them. And I didn't like finding that out at all.
Oh, you can save somebody's reel?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And most of mine are like, how to crochet this top. But like occasionally there's one that I'm like, ha ha ha. And now I've found out that they get to know about that. And I don't like it.
You don't like when they know you enjoy their shirtless wood chopping videos, Paige?
No, I'm sure he'd be fine with it. I don't think he'd complain at all. I think he'd be like, hell yeah, you saving that shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to this movie. They lay in the street. They almost die. Then they get up and dance and there's no music. And then we get non-diegetic music that plays over it.
Yeah, it's All Be Seeing You. I love this scene though, because it's all like them falling in love and it's very sweet and it's scored to literally just crickets and like nighttime sounds until we get the All Be Seeing You. Like it is very emotionally manipulative and does such a good job of making me want these two toxic people to be together.
Well, and thus we enter our first montage where like he's reading a poem to his dad. She gives him the painting.
Yeah.
They have breakfast at night. Then we get the very famous "Say I'm a bird, you're a bird, say I'm a bird" scene.
If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
We're birds.
You're a bird.
Jim Tan Bird Laundry.
Jim Tan Bird Laundry.
I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't understand why is it just like, is this like a Jenny from Forrest Gump situation? I don't understand why birds were a thing of that generation.
No.
They didn't have a lot of like excitement, you know? They was like, oh, look, a bird.
I feel like there's a question like this today where people are like, if I was a worm, would you still love me? And it's like, well, that would never happen, and that would change a lot of things. So why should we answer this? I think it's like that. Like, it's just a weird hypothetical, like, what if I could be a bird? Oh, whoa, did somebody poke you back? Beep, 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 beep.
This just in, a poke update.
Text from my mother. Did you poke me on Facebook? What the heck is that?
Mikey, you poked your own mother.
I literally just hit the first 50 buttons, and I don't know who I poked.
Mikey, who famously just ended the Patreonicals in an orgy, just poked his own mother.
So dangerous.
Oh, don't say that. Come on, poking's a harmless thing.
Is it?
I don't really know. I don't know. Back in the day, it was definitely weird, but like
It was a like, hey.
no one's. Oh, I'm getting a lot of poke backs, ladies.
Mikey finally bringing in some pokes.
I'm poking so many people, not work people, because I feel like that's gonna get weird.
It is.
Oh, I just got a DM on Facebook.
Is it from your mom? Stop poking people.
What does it say?
It's from a random woman. Haven't been poked since 2013.
Mikey, she's begging for it.
Enjoy it.
This poke will take longer than 6 seconds.
Oh my God. I didn't even know this feature still exists. You used to just be able to go to someone's profile and say poke them.
Mikey, I just reawakened your dating game right now. I just gave you a dating superpower.
Who is the lady that messaged you? Is it are they an eligible person?
They are ineligible.
Oh.
Was it Natalie?
Try again. Poke somebody else.
But you know what? I've got 3,000 Facebook friends, so we're going for it.
Nice. That's a wide net, my friend.
It's a real wide net.
Haven't seen you in 20 years. Poke, poke, poke.
I'm going to get a text from my family. My sister will be like, so Mikey just poked me on Facebook? And I'll be like, just
100%.
wait and listen to the episode.
You think I'm not going to poke your family? I'm poking your fucking family.
He poked his own mother. No one's safe, Paige.
No one's safe.
Say hi to your mother for me. Poke her for me.
Why is it always happening in the box?
We're going to get so many fucking pokes after this episode, guys.
I just poked Natalie. She just popped up. I poked her.
Please
We're going to get
don't.
blown the poke up.
Guys, you just go to the search bar on Facebook and go to your poke page.
And just go to town on all your friends and tell them Romancing the Pod poked them.
Anyway, they end up making out in the car. She gets out to go home, and her dad is like, hey, I have an evil mustache, which means I'm going to be a bad guy. Tell that guy to come over to lunch on Sunday.
Oh, here goes my mom. Are you drinking again?
So you can't answer that question honestly because I've seen it. It's in your hand.
I definitely am. I have a sore throat, and bourbon helps.
That's definitely what helps, yeah.
It's holistic.
What are you, leaf girl?
Anyway, he shows up on Sunday for their fancy afternoon party where everyone is a dick because he is a hardworking lumberjack guy that makes 40 cents an hour. It's like, shut the fuck up and let him cut the wood, okay?
The way they look down on that man for making more than what would now be the minimum wage is disgusting.
No, 40 cents then. He's probably making $100 an hour.
Well, 40 cents an hour then is almost $9 an hour today, which is more than the federal minimum wage.
That's above federal, but less than most states. Yeah.
And that
Oof.
$50,000 house, they were like, oh my God, it's so expensive, would be actually $650,000 today, which Paige in California wouldn't buy you shit.
It wouldn't have bought me the house I'm in now.
I know. And it's like a mansion. Buying that house and fixing it up is gets him in the paper.
It gets him in the paper. But during this Sunday lunch where they're all being rich assholes, they're like, so what are you going to do when she goes away to college next year? And he's like, oh, I didn't know that was happening.
Well, I know. I think he thought she was going to a college that was
in Charleston, yeah.
3 hours away or something.
Yeah.
But she's going to the one in New York, which I can't remember which one it was. But
Sarah Lawrence, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. It comes up, but she never goes there in the movie. Those years are sort of yada-yada'd because she's there and then he goes to war and then
she goes but then leaves to become a nurse.
Yeah. We don't get any of her story during that time because yada
really.
through those years.
But they end up kissing outside his house and he's like, do you want to go somewhere? And she's like, okay. So they go to an abandoned old house that's definitely full of spiders.
Oh, yeah.
Even Rygos could not get me to have sex in that spider house.
Yeah, they like Miracle. Is it Miracle on 34th Street? No, it's the other Christmas movie.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. They like It's a Wonderful Life.
They did do that, yeah.
So it's like they go to the dilapidated house that he then promises to fix up for her, that whole thing. Yeah.
Would smash in this house.
Mikey, that's a crazy thing for you to say to someone who you have publicly shamed for also banging in a house that was built in the 1700s.
Excuse you, a shack.
First off, there's many differences between this shack and that shack.
I disagree. The floors in both were terrible. The walls were wood. It had a roof, kinda.
This one only has a roof, kinda.
Exactly. Thank you, Paige, for agreeing with me.
One. This is a rural, abandoned home. You were in a downtown shack that had to be boarded up due to the unhoused using drugs and having sex in it.
Oh, that's not why it had to be boarded up, baby.
They're just having their own personal notebook. Why would you begrudge them that?
I bought you Fort Nashboro.
It wasn't my proudest shag.
True fucking enough. 2 weeks ago, there was a guy threatening to jump off into the river right on that ledge.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this story yet.
You did.
And I just was talking to him the whole time. I thought about you fucking in that fucking cabin right next to me. And I can never forgive you for that.
Never forget, Mikey. Never forget.
Sorry, I've got pokes to handle now.
getting a lot back. I think it's a good sign.
It's definitely a good sign, Mikey.
The first step.
Also, Mikey sent me a meme while we were recording about Call of Duty and jet fuel melting steel beams.
9/11 has been confirmed to be in Black Ops 6.
Oh, are you sure it's not 10/11 or 9/12? Anyway, they are about to bang it out on this floor. And it's a very sweet scene where like they get undressed and they're making out, and it's like she's nervous, but he's like talking her through it or whatever. And then they get interrupted by the guy from Entourage, who's like, hey, it's 2 a.m. and it's also the 40s. And so her parents are looking for her everywhere. And they've called the cops.
Yeah, exactly. They've officially been cop blocked.
Yes.
Because like they were about to like get down to business.
They were about to get it in.
Yeah.
Get it in.
Yeah.
And they go back to her house where her mom loudly is like, he's a nice boy, but he's trash. Trash. I'm sorry, but he is trash. And it's like, yeah, why would he stick around to listen to that? Of course not. They're mad because he's poor. So he leaves. She chases after him. And he's just like, go on now. Leave, old yeller. Don't you see I don't want you anymore?
Get.
Get.
I mean, it is really sad. Like I cried during this moment of the movie because like I grew up poor and I might have fallen in love stupidly with this rich girl at my high school and thought that like, oh, falling in love is such an overstatement. I just said that because it was like in the moment. I might have like this rich girl at my school, but like it would never happen because I was a poor kid. Like I get it. I've been there.
He's trash. And he wears like 4 jackets at a time.
Todd is trash. Yes. How does he afford that many shirts?
He pokes a girl in the shed. I heard about it.
That didn't happen for years after that. And by that, I mean losing my virginity.
In the shed.
Well, that wasn't where I lost it, but that's where I found it.
That's where he found it.
I love that. I love that phrase. That's where I found it.
I'm not even sure what it means. And if it's offensive, I apologize.
Some of these people I've not talked to in so long that a poke would just really confuse them.
This is a truly unhinged episode. And like it's like the perfect way to go out with Mikey. I love it.
That's great.
And when I say go out, I mean Murder Suicide, the podcast.
Yeah, Murder Suicide. I came to Murder Suicide you.
This episode is brought to you in part by Purina. Purina is dedicated to creating richer lives for pets and the people who love them. From helping older pets think like their younger selves to making cat ownership a possibility for more people than ever, Purina is helping pets thrive so they can live long, healthy, and happy lives. Purina has you covered for all your furry friends' needs, whether they meow or bark. From litter to treats to their best-in-class, nutrient-packed food with taste your pets will love, Purina's got your back at every stage of your pet's life. Your pet gives you the joy of the spring sunshine all year round. So today and every day, care for your pet with Purina. Your pet is Purina's passion. To learn more, head to Amazon.com/Purina.
Explore the endless bounds of space with all new LEGO building sets. From engineering wonders like LEGO Technic NASA Apollo Lunar Roving Vehicle to astronaut dog walkers, there is a perfect LEGO set for everyone on Earth. First launched in 1978, space sets have been igniting people's curiosity through the ultimate creative medium of LEGO bricks. Their newest collection is sure to propel the wonder for exploration and adventure across the galaxies. Be inspired by LEGO sets that are out of this world. Visit Amazon.com/LEGO Space to see the full collection.
So she wakes up the next day and her parents are like, we're leaving to keep you away from that trash poor boy. And she's like, no, I gotta tell him. So she like tries to get to his work to tell him, and he's out on a delivery. So she tells Entourage, she's like, yo, can you just tell him I love him? Okay, I gotta leave. Bye.
I think it's important to say that like the night before it's revealed that she's leaving immediately, not in a week. They like break up. Like he breaks up with her.
Yeah, they get into a slap fight, which is a little rough.
Well, they don't. She hits him and he hits himself a few times.
Yeah.
But like he does not hit her.
Right.
No one does actually in this movie. Like no, all the guys in her life are good like guys.
Why do you sound so disappointed no one hurts her?
No, I'm just saying like normally one of them would be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like both of the guys are solid dudes, I think. And she just has a hard choice to make.
Weird. weird for the time.
Yeah, Paige, you're not wrong.
This is, and here's the thing. I understand when people are upset by having sexual violence, sexual assault, or even just domestic violence in their stories.
Sure.
But for me, whenever I'm watching like a historical story, I'm like, we did used to get violenced a lot. It's not good, but like it is probably accurate. That's where I land on it. But there's none of that in this movie.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
It's great.
Anyway, as she's leaving, he arrives back from the delivery and Entourage is like, yo, she's leaving. He's like, no. And he runs after her and he drives to the house, wrecks their gate with his car.
I did think it was awesome that we see him run into the gate and then just like stare down their front door, and there's nobody there except for probably the staff cleaning up.
Right.
But like they're gone. We never see any repercussions of that. So I guess he just drove away and they got back into the next summer and they were like, oh shit, I guess my fence got destroyed.
I assumed they never went back.
Oh yeah, they probably didn't.
Oh, I guess not. Yeah.
And honestly, maybe they do find out about it because when she goes to visit him, the first thing she does is run over his fence.
There you go. It's payback.
Boom. Symmetry, baby.
A poke for a poke.
And if I have learned anything tonight, that's how you make romance happen.
So he writes her every day for a year, 365 letters, and then writes her a farewell letter because clearly he's finally taking the hint after texting her, hey, 365 times.
I'm so glad at the end of this movie she picked the last letter and not like some middle letter where he's just like, oh God, it's been about 6 months since we last spoke and I don't know why I'm fucking talking to you. You're terrible. I fucking hate you. Why are you not talking to me? And then over the course of the rest of that back half of the year, he comes to terms with it and he writes a nice, sweet goodbye letter.
Here's the thing. A letter, what would you have to write every day? Like when Jake and I were long distance for a while, and there were some days where you're texting and you're like, how's your day? Fine. How's your day? Also fine. Cool. I guess we're both doing fine. Because some of your days are boring.
Well, he could have done a lot of things, right? He could have done it like a journal.
Sure.
He could have done it like a renovation guide to his house.
Possibly. Well, he's not doing the house yet. That's later.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think he just did it as a journal, a war journal. I'm going to war.
Well, he's not even at war yet.
Yeah, he's not even at war yet. He's at war of the heart, Paige.
In his heart.
Yeah. I think he just did a journal. I think of you all the time. I think of you slapping me and it was good. Felt so good.
And it kind of made me hard. And now is I hope that didn't unlock something in me.
Rygos, it did unlock something in you.
Anyway, he and Entourage moved to Atlanta where they then enlist to fight in World War II. And it says that they spend 2 years in North Africa. Super interesting if you're a World War II nerd.
Right?
And then they end up with Patton in Europe.
Yeah, he enlisted early.
Yeah, he must have enlisted. I'm like, what is this, 42 or something like that?
I think it is 42. Because the movie starts in 1940. And it was right after that summer. So yeah.
Yeah.
But he was fighting Rommel in the desert and then he gets sent to Bastogne.
Yeah.
And his buddy E gets blown in half, literally.
Yeah. In full half.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Allie goes to college and then becomes a nurse and then eventually does go back to college, but we don't really see any of the college part, just the nurse parts. But while she's a nurse, she kind of helps this one soldier who's just like, when I get better, can I take you out? And he's in a full body cast. And she's like, yeah, sure, buddy. You can take me out.
Yeah, you're going to get out of here. Right.
Right. Enjoy that morphine. He's like, I'm an excellent dancer and my intentions are completely dishonorable. And also, at this point in time, medically, if you were in a full body cast, what are the odds that you're going to recover and just be like, I'm fine. I'm James Marsden. Unlikely.
Oh, you mean literally a scene later to be outside your convertible looking like Cyclops, James Marsden.
Peak James Marsden. Yeah. Oof. Oof Magoo.
Right after I met him in an airport. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what, man? You're lucky this is an airport.
Before he got jury duty.
What's it say about this woman that a man has to be close to death before they ask her out?
Wow.
I think he was just trying to shoot his shot. Anyway, he meets her outside college. He's like, I got better. Let's go on a date. And she's like, of course.
Yeah.
Have you seen you? Did you run into a mirror at some point? Because holy hell.
I mean, this is the guy she should be with, you know?
In my notes, I just have, honestly, maybe Ryan Gosling is the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Because as rewatching this as an adult, and we get a brief montage of their times together, and they seem to have a great time. They seem to love each other very much. And even later in the movie, she does say, she's like, I do love him. Like, he's great, but I have this stack of letters and...
Well, she doesn't have the stack of letters. She has a stack of like unrequited love or like just, there's this big open question mark there.
Right.
Which I do think like had her mother not robbed her of the closure of that, she would marry James Marsden and live a very happy life.
100.
I think that because her mother did what she did, it created this narrative and this story for her and for him, Noah.
It artificially inflated the relationship she had with Noah because it was something to be contained.
Yes, and then...
The implication being it was so powerful, it needed to be contained.
Exactly. So, like, is it true or is it not true? It's not true to any observer, but for them it is, so it doesn't matter, you know? Like, it is a story that in their minds is so powerful, they can't stop themselves from being together. And that's her mother's fault for creating that situation.
Yeah.
And it like fucks up her daughter's life. Although at the end of the movie, like you see that they lived a life well and like they're happy or whatever. So like it's fine.
Statistically unlikely, but fine.
Right, exactly. But the movie like gives you a get out of jail free card on that one.
Anyway, she and James Marsden are going to get married. She's like picking out her wedding dress. She's got the ring and everything. And she opens the newspaper to see their engagement announcement. But what else does she see? A picture of Ryan Gosling in front of the house he built for her to her specifications.
Literally the same Pageville as like her like wedding announcement of like whatever. It even got a picture and way more copy space.
Yeah.
Like he scooped her in her wedding announcement.
Yep.
And I want to point out that that's fucking hilarious.
Hilarious. And he didn't even know he was doing it. There is a scene where like he goes to like file the permits for the house and he like sees her on the sidewalk and follows her and realizes she's with somebody else. And then he like builds the house like from the ground up.
Yeah.
And then refuses to sell it. He's like, maybe I'll burn it down. Maybe I'll do all this stuff. And then doesn't. So now he has this house that only reminds him of her and makes him ache every moment of every day. And she now knows about the house. And what is she going to do? Because it's unfinished business. We cut to him having a relationship with Martha Shaw, who's like a war widow, but he's like, she's trying to have the DTR, the define the relationship conversation. And he's just like, ain't no relationship. It's casual. I'm in pain. And you're like, okay, all right.
He's like, I could be everything that you need. I could be perfect for you. But that part of me is broken because of this lady who I dated when I was 18.
We got an update on Poke Central.
Uh-oh.
I got a screenshot that says Michael Randolph poked you from their Facebook. Says, LOL, you can still poke people? And I said, I just discovered it. And then they said, you're a real elder millennial.
How dare they say something so hurtful yet factual?
Mikey, time to write back. Respect your elders.
Is this person eligible? Can we help you flirt?
Yeah, are they eligible?
Jeff May just posted on my timeline.
I fucking love Jeff.
Why did you poke me? Cut that out.
All right, I'll go poke him too. Hang on.
This is what they did. This is the interactivity of social media that made it fun for a while.
Poking is beneath me.
All right. Anyway, while you guys are poking Jeff and annoying him when he's just trying to live his life.
He's like having dinner at 6:36 his time.
Yeah.
He's like, what am I do? What? Why have they poked me?
What is happening? So she walks into James Marsden's office and is like, I need to go on a girls' trip to finish some stuff up. And he's like, for what? And she's like, no reason. Definitely not going to tell you.
She doesn't evil laugh like that, although she might as well.
She might as well.
Because she more or less walks in and is like, hey, I have to go fuck an ex before we get married. And he's like, okay.
What if before you got married, you got to choose an ex to fuck?
I'm out.
Oh, shit. That sounds so bad.
I'm out.
That sounds the most toxic.
I don't want to have sex with any of my exes.
This is the perfect Lachey Netflix show.
That is the perfect way. Okay, would you choose someone you had feelings with, or would you choose best sex you had?
I mean, that's a difficult choice.
Is she choosing her ex on her wedding the night before too?
Yeah, but everyone does. And then you see if you still want to get married.
I love this game show.
It's terrible.
I need 16 cameramen, a house set up with cameras, and $100,000 prize for the winners. And we're going to make this Netflix hit.
I don't think I really have any exes I would have wanted to choose for this.
I certainly don't. I wouldn't want to have sex with any of my exes.
I don't have love exes. I have sex exes that I would have one more night with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I've got hot people where maybe things didn't happen or whatever, or celebrities. What if you got to choose a celebrity?
They'd be exhausted.
Paige, now you're just trying to find a way to have sex with a celebrity again. You're like shoehorning it.
Yeah, how are they going to get to everyone's house? They're not Santa Claus. Like
Santa Claus?
Ryan Goss had sex with 30,000 women last night.
Well, he's got those wings. He's a Gosling. He can fly around.
It's a very funny joke.
Look, Jake and I have very open communication. And if Sebastian Stan was like, let's do this, and he'd be like, report back or something like that, and we'd probably figure it out. So I'm not really worried about this.
I'd fuck Mrs. Claus.
Mrs. Claus.
You should see his back when she's done with him.
I want to cause the most drama.
The cause the most drama.
And have delicious cookies.
Christmas is canceled.
I want to make a Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus combined with 50 Shades movie.
Are you going to make it snow across Mrs. Claus's back?
The sexy Claus. And she has to sign it.
Say it. Santa.
Santa.
Mr. Claus will be with you right just a moment.
Oh, no.
The Santa Claus. The sexy Santa Claus.
I don't like this at all.
But you'll have to make the clause part of it like a contract, and the whole trailer is him reading her subcontract, and then the Santa Claus.
I have a red and white striped room. Pleasure.
A red and white striped room of pain.
And the elves have to clean off the toys after.
It would work. I love any Christmas movie.
It only works if Rankin Bass do it. Somebody call those guys and see if they can put that together.
Why haven't there been a sexy Santa Claus movie where they just bone out?
There is. There's that Kurt Russell one. Oh, I guess they don't bone.
They don't bone. I'm talking about hardcore, bowl full of jelly, all up in it.
This is so strange because I had a friend, I was texting with a friend about a actor we both thought was hot, and he commented that he would like to have an encounter with this person dressed as Santa. And I was like, why Santa? And he was like, I don't know. I just keep picturing it.
Paige, tell him I'll do it.
It was... It's not you.
It's obviously their childhood. My counselor part is coming up with that. It's fine.
I think it was a mix of like something that's considered very like non-sexy and innocent being used in a sexy way. Like it's taboo, I think. Do you want me to text and ask?
No.
Be like, why Santa?
No, just I need you to poke them on Facebook.
Yeah, just go poke
All
them
right.
on Facebook. They'll understand.
They don't use Facebook anymore.
That'll make it more difficult, but you'll have to figure it out.
I'll text.
Oh my God. Suggested pokes. Wow, thank you.
Via.
And now Mikey's using the algorithm to poke. Give him a good AI poke, Mikey.
Get it. Get poked. Some of these people are like people I just don't think I should poke. But like
I texted, poked via Facebook. Why do you think you have a Santa thing? Let's see what happens.
Roll those dice.
roll the dice.
Let's find out. Oh, he is texting back. Yeah. Oh, asterisk, filthy Santa. He wanted to specify filthy Santa.
I mean, I've seen Violent Night.
David Harbour as Santa? Hell yeah, of course.
Yeah, like David Harbour at the end of that Violent Night. Oof.
That's basically just my husband putting on a Santa suit, and I ain't mad about that at all.
You know what? Same.
That was not the vibe of what this friend was describing, but sure.
Missing out.
Anyway, so she shows up at Noah's house and is like, I saw your picture in the paper and I saw that you made my house, so I'm here to collect it.
I mean, more or less, yeah. She's like, I want to like take a good look at the place to see if I want to commit to this house you are obviously giving me.
Right. And she's like, are you okay? He's aggressively not okay. Like, he's clearly not okay.
Dude's a broken man.
He says that nothing happened with Santa. So I don't know. ...
Yet.
Not a creature is stirring except my dick.
Okay.
Anyway, she's like, this was stupid. I should go. And goes to drive away and runs over his fence and can't get the car to start. And he's like, okay, why don't you come inside? So of course they come inside and we cut to the old people where they're like, the doctor needs to see you. And he's like, all right, I'll be back. Meanwhile, they take her away to play the piano. And his doctor's like, so you've had 2 heart attacks in 18 months. By the way, short amount of time for a lot of heart attacks. And he's like, but I feel fine. And he's like, you look fine. Have a good day. And he's like, oh, by the way, I heard you read to Miss Hamilton. She's not going to remember anything. I'm the sprinkle of doubt that's going to make you talk about God in this movie. And he's like, okay. But we cut back to she is playing piano because she does remember how to read music, which is kind of a weird thing that happens sometimes with people with memory disorders where like they won't remember who you are or people, but then sometimes they'll remember things or like actions or like things that they like from their past. It's really interesting.
Well, you know what scientists say, and honestly, ICP also, brains, like how do they work?
Yeah, fucking magnets. Anyway, we cut back to old times. Oh, who poked you now?
Somebody just sent me a message that says, why are you poking me? At the same time, I get a text from a guy, and it's just middle finger emoji, middle finger emoji, middle finger emoji.
I liked that you just indiscriminately poked everyone you knew.
Story of my life.
So we cut to old times, and he's like, oh, so the guy who has a super rich family who owns a cotton company? Oh, yeah, I bet your parents like him. But they basically they spend a whole day together drinking, like clearly falling back in love. And he's like, hey, come back tomorrow. Definitely drunk drive home. And I want to show you something tomorrow. And she's like, okay. So we cut to the old people and he's like, he knew he couldn't lose her twice. Oh, by the way, the children are here. And it was real fucked up that the nurse was like, his children, not yours. Bitch, they're both of their children. The only reason you're not saying this is for the movie.
I think that she was saying that because she didn't want to confuse her or like make her be like, what? Or like have like a negative experience or whatever. I don't know. It seems strategic to me.
It's strategic for the movie. Having been on the children's side of this, they do tell them that they are your children and they often don't comprehend it or remember it.
Sure, yeah.
And so sometimes you just are like, I'm a friend. And you just leave it at that to not make it weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, the kids are like, hey, why don't you come live at home? Like, I know you were living with her here and reading to her every day. And he's like, she's gonna remember. And I'm like, that's not how these conditions work. It's a miracle. Like, she'll show you. And I'm like,
I mean, it is just like him being the sweetest thing he could be, but also very naive.
Yeah.
And like not understanding the way this disease works and stuff. Yeah, it's like, it's real sad though. Like it's really emotionally manipulative.
It's very emotionally manipulative, especially because, and I get every family handles this differently, but like I consider it a kindness to sometimes just not try to force people to remember because like sometimes they just aren't. So like don't make them feel bad. Just be like, hell yeah, we're going to have a fun dinner. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Great. Like my mom always says like the asking them to remember and having them try to participate in life the way they used to is for you, not them.
Yeah.
And like when you kind of put it in that perspective, you're like, maybe we just let them have a good day.
Yeah.
Like
I think the movie gets around that by it being like her wish to like have him read this to her every day.
Sure.
Because she wrote the book and wrote that in the inscription. But yeah, no, I get that completely, Paige.
Which I think is pretty narcissistic that she thinks she's the best author of all time.
Well, I also feel like she's doing that at a time when she doesn't necessarily know how she's going to feel. Like as it gets worse.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was her as she existed with, I would assume, all of her faculties, right? So, like.
Or most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a very gradual process.
Sure. Or
yeah.
Sometimes can be, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. You know. Anyway, we cut back to old times. She gets back to the hotel and her fiance calls her and is like, hey, you disappeared and didn't call me. And I started to think that you got like fucking kidnapped or some shit. So what's up? And she's like, I'm okay. I'll call you tomorrow. Bye. Click.
He literally says, is there anything you want to tell me? And she goes, nope.
Nope.
Crickets.
I don't want to tell you about this at all. This is bad.
Doesn't say shit to him. And he's just like, well, okay, I guess.
Do you think that her dad has already told him at that point that he like already knows?
What year is this? Is this after Hitler?
Yes.
So he probably shaved all of his mustache off this time. And then...
the dad?
Yeah. And then was definitely calling James Marsden because he wants James Marsden to win, quote unquote, right?
He does. He had more of a Stalin mustache.
That's fair,
but
yeah.
Still probably shaved it. Anyway,
yeah.
She goes to Noah's the next day. And she sees all the stuff he's building. He gets her in the boat. They row past the swans. And they're like, you look different. You look different. And then it starts to rain. And he rows her back to the dock. And this is the very famous scene of like, why didn't you write to me? It wasn't over for me. And he's like, I wrote to you every day for a year. It wasn't over. It's still not over.
And they have what I think is a very like sexy sex scene.
This is one of the best sex scenes on film at the time. I would say we've gotten better at them, but
Sure.
at the time, this was it.
Yeah.
Everyone loved this.
This was a good sex scene.
Yeah. And they have a lot of chemistry together, man. Like I bought it.
Well, allegedly, they both had feelings for each other at the time and didn't tell each other and then went on to make other movies or whatever. And they've like admitted to it later on.
Oh my God. Are they notebooking themselves?
Oh, I don't know. I think he's very happy with Eva Mendes.
Eva Mendes. Yeah. That's right.
And
that's
they
right.
have
That's right.
kids together. And then she's, I think, married to somebody else too. I just think it was like at the time they had like a thing. But anyway, they have sex multiple times in the bed, on the floor, everything.
He's been waiting a long time, Paige.
Yeah.
Like it's probably going to take a few times before he gets it right.
This was not a criticism. No, he took care of her. It was fine.
I do think it's funny that she was like, that was good. Let's go again now. Like, let's just start again.
Immediately.
Yeah.
But they get up to make breakfast, and who should show up but the other woman?
I thought that this was a pretty wild turn of events. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys this. This is the first time I've seen this movie.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I thought I had seen this movie all the way through. Let me qualify that by saying
Okay.
I've probably seen about 70% of this movie.
Okay.
But at various times, and I've definitely seen the first 15 minutes 1,000 times.
1,000,000 times.
Because
yeah.
this is the movie, like Mikey alluded to, like you would go over and your girlfriend at the time would put it on, or the girl you were dating at the time would put it on, and then you would end up making out and things would happen and you would not pay attention to the movie. So like I had seen scenes from this movie. I had never seen all of this movie top to bottom.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I had also definitely fast forwarded around this movie to strategic scenes, and so there were parts that I remembered more than others.
Yeah, the tape on Paige's The Notebook DVD was real worn out in that sex scene.
Yeah. We didn't have, I mean, like, porn existed, but just not in my orbit, and so we had to use what we had. This and DVDs of Rome and the Tudors, okay?
That explains
That's pretty good, though.
so much, yeah.
Yeah.
So when the other woman showed up, Paige, like that was a wild turn of events. I did not see going this way because Ryan's like, it takes him a while to get to the door. He's obviously still getting dressed when he gets there. So she's like, is it her? Is she in there with you? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, I'd like to meet her. And I'm like, I don't love this.
I kind of liked it. Like he's told this woman like all about this situation that he's still in love with her and stuff. And I'm like, good for you for being vulnerable and her understanding.
I'd be curious. If I was Martha, I'd be like, yeah, let me see the lady that fucking wrecked you. Like, I need to see what's up.
Dude, but at the end of this night, when she like goes home and then she goes, man, this woman who destroyed you, I get it, man. She's spectacular. I might never recover from having met her. Like, it's crazy.
Well, I think what she's trying to say, and they've
threesome. She's trying to say threesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think it's just weird in the movie, but I think what she's trying to say is seeing them together makes her hopeful that she will have another love in her life that makes her feel that way and will feel that way about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what it implies in the movie.
The movie just kind of fumbles it.
Which is exactly the opposite of what this movie is reinforcing, though.
Right.
And it would be for her that her husband that died at war was her first and only love.
Right.
So she has the saddest storyline.
Honestly, I'm thinking maybe we should introduce her to James Marsden.
We need to, yes.
Yeah.
And she could still hang out with Allie's parents because it feels like Allie doesn't need them. So, you know.
I'll just call him on the phone and be like, listen, Jamie Mars, this really hot woman, you got to meet her.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, okay, has she ever dated anybody? I'll be like, yeah, she was married, but he's dead, so you don't have to worry about that.
Don't worry about it. She can't go on a weird girls trip and then she don't. Anyway.
Is it a girls trip if it's just one?
Yeah, well, each one of her boobs counts as a girl.
Yeah, it's 4 girls.
It's a girls trip.
Wait, 4 girls?
What?
Either way, Jamie Mars would be like, I'm going to jump in the Blackbird and get down there immediately.
Yeah. So she wakes up the next morning at Noah's house and he has left her arrows to the painting area that he has set up for her. So she's naked painting. Good for her.
Good for you.
Her mom shows up and is like, hey, your dad told your fiance about what was going on and he's on the way. So because I feel like you're going to have some confusing feelings to deal with, here's some more. And here's a stack of 300 plus letters.
365, baby. They tell us many times it was every day for a year, Paige.
It was a year, Paige.
365.
So that means there was like a, hey, happy New Year's. You're the worst for ghosting me. I hate this. Like
I didn't get to kiss anyone because you left. And then her mom is like, let's take a field trip. Let's go to this quarry with this guy shoveling rocks. And by the way, 25 years ago,
I want to introduce you to your bio dad.
it might be your biological father.
The fact that nobody questions the math.
Nobody.
And she tells a story of like, yeah, I dated this guy one hot summer and then immediately married your dad.
Yeah.
And then the word premature came up a lot around the time of your birth. Like, I would have a lot of questions.
And I do like, she's like, I love your father. Like, we've been married for a long time. I love your father. But I was like, which father?
Exactly, Paige. She is saying to her that is your father and I love him.
Yes.
Not the asshole I married.
Yeah.
You've seen his mustache.
He looks like Stalin.
He does.
Anyway, so she drops her off back at Noah's house and she's just like, hey, so my fiance's in town, but I finally got your letters and now I'm going to have questions. And he's like, did I not bone the questions out of you? And she's just like, no, this is a complicated, I have to go talk to him, asshole.
Like, she at least has to go have a breakup conversation with him, right?
Yeah.
Like
100.
She can't just stay there.
No.
Like, and live in your house forever.
Well, I mean, he asked first, what are you going to do? And she's like, I don't know. And I'd be like, what do you mean? I don't know. You just slept with me all weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's, I guess, on you for thinking it meant anything to her. Like, I
That's
don't know.
true.
You did not discuss it ahead of time. This is true.
I know, exactly, which is terrible, Mikey. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but like, Rachel McAdams in this movie has not been displayed to have made good decisions.
No, I really think she doesn't know what she's going to do at this point.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think she is wrestling with a lot of the things that he's accusing her of wrestling with, which is the like, it'll probably be a much easier life with him.
Yeah.
And he is a great guy, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I don't love how he talks to her in this scene because they are super toxic and fight all the time. And at one point he says, I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings because they've got like a 2-second recovery and then you're doing another stupid thing. And I'm like, wow, maybe choose James Marsden.
You know, the way people in love talk.
Because when she talks to James Marsden, it like literally in the next scene, James Marsden is like, hey, I know how tough this is for you. And as mad as I am, I still love you.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're going to have to choose if you want me or not. And like that conversation alone should maybe make her choose James Marsden.
I mean, he is displaying way better communication styles than Rygos ever does.
Yes.
I mean, because he is like, listen, I don't want to have to feel like I'm convincing my fiance to marry me. So like,
Sure.
I need you to make a decision and then let me know. He's like so calm and so empathetic and
Yes.
just so gentle with her in this, what is very clearly the saddest moment of his recent life.
Yes.
And he's just so good about it.
Well, and so, okay, so this is where my intrusive thoughts got the better of me during this movie because we don't see what she chose. We cut to modern day where old Allie is like, what did she choose? And she's like, oh, Noah. And I was like, it'd be so funny if it was Lon.
Right?
And he was just like, been chasing the ghost of that guy forever. Like, what? He built you one house. I bought you 3. Like, whatever.
Exactly, Paige.
But instead, she recognizes that it's Noah and she's like, where have I? He's like, you just went away for a while. Don't worry about it. How much time do we have? Less than 5 minutes, which also there's no time. You take it as it comes, but whatever.
It's so sad though. Like I'm like bawling at this point of the movie.
This is a very manipulative scene.
It's so fucking sad. Like, cause he like makes them, well, he doesn't make it, but he has a staff like make them a very nice candlelit dinner. And then he like serves them the poisoned wine. And then like they get up and dance. And it's just like, it's so sweet, man.
Well, this is also, this is so frustrating as if you have experienced family members that deal with this, because there's a specific phrase called sundowning because people with memory disorders are often less likely to remember things late in the day.
Yeah.
It's actually more likely that he would walk in the morning and be like, Allie, and she'd be like, Noah, what's up? And then by the end of the day, be like, who the hell are you? So the fact that she remembers late in the day and then immediately forgets, I'm like, this is purely to manipulate us.
Yeah.
Because she gets very upset and very scared, and because it is scary to not know things and not know where you are, and that can sometimes provoke emotional responses.
Well, and to sort of be in an intimate sort of embrace with a guy
someone that
you've
you
never
don't
met.
recognize.
Yeah,
yes.
like that would be sort of terrifying and feel unsafe and
very unsafe.
Yeah.
And they sedate her. I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, she's having a rational reaction for a person in her scenario. But we do see that the book says, read this to me and I'll come back to you. That's a promise she can't make, but fine.
It's so sad. Like, I am bawling though when I'm reading that. Like, it's so sad, guys. I like cried so hard at the end of this movie.
Oh, I cried at the end. Of course. I always do, even though I was thinking of real fucked up shit.
I did not cry.
I mean, I literally was crying, and then I had the thought, this is all so sweet, but so sad because he's about to murder her.
He does.
And then I'm like giggling to myself, but also still crying. And Natalie's just looking over at me like, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? I've gone through phases where back in the day when this came out, I watched it so much that I no longer cried at the end. And it had been a long time since I had actually watched these parts of the movie. Because as I mentioned, I was mostly just watching that one scene for a long time.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, and even as it was happening, I was like, this is emotionally manipulative, but sure. Because he has like a heart attack. He, has to go get treated, goes to the hospital, whatever. As he's recovering, they have had to put her under more intense supervision within the same facility. But so he goes to visit her. That nurse is like, I'm going to get a coffee, even though she has a coffee, clearly an accomplice.
I mean, she's definitely in on it.
Yes.
Because he's coming to the hallway and she even says, I don't think you're really out for a walk. I think you're going to see Alice.
Yes.
And he's like, guilty as charged or whatever. And then she's like, well, I'm going to tell you to go back to bed. And then I'm going to take my break and I'll be gone for a while.
Yep.
So don't do anything stupid. Wink. And then she walks away and he's just like,
definitely don't take those Viagra pills in your pocket. Yeah.
they OD'd on Viagra. That's what it was. So he like grabs the coffee mug that she left there like, oh, I guess she really did want me to go kill my wife. So he goes down the hallway and then we never see them again after that scene. We see the scene with them, but like that's the last time she sees them before she walks in on them dead, realizing she's about to get fired.
There you go.
There you go.
But yes, he's been hoarding pills to kill them both.
Yes.
Well, yeah, essentially, he goes in there. They have the conversation. She remembers him, even though it's nighttime. They have the conversation where she's like, do you think our love could create miracles and take us at the same time? And he's like, I'll make sure of it.
Yeah, I got a miracle for you. Yeah.
And of course, the next morning, they're both dead. And that nurse is going to have to find an alibi to cover it up.
It's a miracle on 86th Street.
Well, they probably would not do it. They probably would. I don't even think they would do an autopsy. They'd just be like, they died together.
They're old age. They died together.
Yeah.
And
that's the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you guys think about the Nicholas Sparks masterpiece, The Notebook?
God dang it. I liked it.
Great sex scene.
I love this movie. I would watch this movie again a bunch of times. Makes me cry every time. It's emotionally manipulative. But man, when James Garner kills his wife at the end, like you can't help but like feel for him, you know?
Sure.
I mean, I do think it's a murder-suicide movie, but it's like it pulls at my heartstrings.
But it's the best one of those, you know?
Yeah, when you watch it through that lens, you're like, oh, but also Ryan Gosling, damn, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is my favorite murder-suicide movie or if that's Thelma and Louise, but it's definitely up there. I like it. It's a great movie.
It's an okay movie with very pretty people in it.
So, I had this thought while I was watching this because Mikey, as he's exited the show, has made us watch some real shit movies in the After series.
Yeah.
I know we still have one more.
I know. And I wonder if the After series, like for the people who were our age when this movie came out, is After The Notebook?
No. I think that Anyone But You is up there now for this. That movie did gangbusters.
No, it did terrible, Mikey. It got horrible reviews. It went to streaming early because it didn't make that much money.
No, it made like $300 million in theaters.
Outside of the U.S., I'm guessing?
No,
'Cause
in
here
the
it got
U.S.
panned.
No, it got good reviews and a ton of money.
It got terrible reviews. And they were rumored to be sleeping together, like cheating on their spouses with each other, though.
No, it made a ton. I think that's the biggest one in a long time.
Yeah, on a $25 million budget, it made $219.5 worldwide.
It got horrendous reviews. That is shocking.
I liked it. I saw it.
People were writing joke reviews about it. It was so bad.
I liked it.
It's got a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not good.
I mean, Mikey said he liked it.
That doesn't mean anything.
I did like it. I did like it.
You just liked it because it was Sydney Sweeney.
That was one of the reasons, but I liked it. I'm a rom-com guy, and it had all the things. They went to Australia. It takes place in Australia.
And we know how famously you love Australia.
Yeah. It's the highest grossing Shakespeare adaptation.
Adaptation?
Adaptation is what he means, but
Adaption.
of which play? Anyone? Is it
I think it's Midsummer.
Much Ado About Nothing?
Much Ado About Nothing. It was fun. It was a fun rom-com.
So, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Yeah.
I do. Yes.
Well, here it is with your fun facts.
Gosling, fun
fact.
facts. When they first started working on this movie, mostly in pre-production, Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams did not get along so badly that Ryan Gosling tried to have her replaced. So the director staged an intervention, put them in a room where they could air out all the grievances they had with each other and work something out. And they soon then patched up their differences enough to be a real life couple for a brief point of time.
I mean, they have a lot of chemistry in this movie.
So much chemistry in this movie. They both lived in Charleston prior to principal photography to kind of prepare for the role, learn what Charleston's like. Rachel McAdams took ballet and etiquette classes and a dialect coach to learn the Southern accent.
Cool.
Ryan Gosling rode the Ashley River every morning and built furniture, including the kitchen table featured in the movie.
What?
Wow.
He built that table?
Yeah, I know.
That's dope. That's awesome.
Yes.
Actually, hasn't Ryan Gosling made a rocking chair for an actress? I think he made a rocking chair for one of his co-stars in a movie, and I think it was the girl from Easy A.
Emma Stone?
I think it was Emma Stone. Google that. I might be wrong, but I think it's something like that.
I will find it. But yeah, he made something for somebody. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, apparently he's got carpentry skills. The scene where he crashes into the gate of Allie's Summer Manor was an accident. They ruined a perfectly good gate, but they thought the take was so good, they just kept shooting.
That's funny. I didn't think it was not planned.
Yeah. The director, Nick Cassavetes, wanted someone unknown and not handsome to portray Noah. He didn't get his wish. It was Ryan Gosling. So, oh well. So Rachel McAdams, when she auditioned, was only given the script a day in advance and still beat 9 other actresses for the role.
Damn, good for her.
Yeah, they included the scene of her and Noah's argument after she and her mother returned. So the one about who she's going to choose. Then I believe one of the other ones was their breakup outside of the manor, when they were teenagers. Originally, the second love scene, which is the one everyone remembers with the rain, was longer and more explicit and had to be edited in order for the film to keep a PG-13 rating. Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams were born in the same hospital in Ontario.
What?
I know, wild.
That is wild.
Nick Cassavetes always wanted Ryan Gosling. That was his only pick. But previously, Steven Spielberg was attached to direct this for years, because the book is actually one of Sparks' earlier books. So under Steven Spielberg, he had originally tried to cast Tom Cruise and then later Justin Timberlake. Thankfully, they all backed out, and we got the movie that we got today.
Wow, Justin Timberlake would have been very different.
It would have been bad.
Ooh, I don't know. 90s Tom Cruise.
I mean, his intensity, though. This is why I don't like Tom Cruise in rom-coms.
But Noah's an intense guy.
He is, but Tom Cruise's intensity is off-putting, and he's not as hot as Ryan Gosling to compensate for it.
I agree.
Also, Tom Cruise's intensity is definitely one in which you might end up dead by the end of the evening. I don't feel that way with Ryan Gosling's portrayal of Noah.
Accurate. The band leader that we see is supposed to be, and this is when she's on the double date with her parents and James
It's
Marsden.
when she gets engaged to J Mars.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be Cab Calloway, known for his call and response lyrics.
Yeah.
It's never explicitly stated in the movie, but that's what it's supposed to be.
That's awesome.
Under Spielberg, Ashley Judd was originally considered for that role. I think she would have been amazing.
She would have, yeah.
Also, Reese Witherspoon, which I think could have also been amazing.
Heck yeah.
However, on the more recent iterations, Britney Spears auditioned for the role. She did not get it, but her footage of her audition was put on sale on eBay for $1 million in May of 2021, which I think is kind of fucked up because in auditions, people are trying and it doesn't always work.
They're reaching for things that might not work.
Yeah.
Hoping to get noticed. There's a bunch of shit that goes into that. But also, doesn't YouTube exist in 2021? Why is...
Yes, but not all audition tapes make it to YouTube.
No, I know, but I guess that guy just wanted to sell it, but that's crazy.
Yeah, he wanted to make money. He wouldn't have, I don't know that he would have made as much on YouTube.
He wouldn't have at all. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I guess that's why it's not there, but that's crazy.
Yeah. So Britney Spears actually talked about it in her recent memoir, though. And part of the reason she was considered so seriously, she was the second choice after Rachel McAdams. Part of the reason she was considered is because she and Gosling were in the Mickey Mouse Club together, and they thought it would actually be kind of a fun reunion.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
She
true.
also beat out Jessica Biel, who also auditioned for the role, which I don't think would have been a good pick. Definitely Reese Witherspoon instead.
Reese Witherspoon's like actually a Southern belle. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she definitely could have done it. I mean, Rachel McAdams is great, but yeah.
She's amazing. So this was originally acquired by New Line in 1996. Steven Spielberg got the job of directing it in 1998, which is when he wanted to do it with Tom Cruise, which I do think is too late for Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I think Tom Cruise is already too old at that point, but fine. Eventually, it went to Jim Sheridan the following year, but it got pushed back over rewrites until he backed out in October of the year 2000 to work on In America that came out in 2002. Nick Cassavetes took over at that point. Apparently, George Clooney has also claimed that he was considered for the role, with Paul Newman in James Garner's role.
That would have been honestly a good iteration. Like Paul Newman would have crushed that.
Yeah. Throughout the movie, every handwritten item you see bears the same handwriting, regardless of who wrote it. If Noah wrote it, if Allie wrote it, it doesn't matter. But that's because they were all written by the same person on the prop crew. But I think you could read this as if this is Allie's retelling of the story, it's all her handwriting, I guess.
I would assume so, yeah, because she wrote that note at the beginning and it's the same handwriting. And she handwrote the entire book, so yeah.
Yeah. So, because this is the third adaptation of a Nicholas Sparks novel, because Walk to Remember comes out before this was in development hell the whole time. But this was actually his first published novel in 1996, so he sold it immediately. I'll end on this one. Both Rachel McAdams and James Marsden have appeared in films based on Marvel Comics. James Marsden obviously played Cyclops in 3 X-Men movies, and Rachel McAdams played Dr. Christine Palmer in Doctor Strange and the subsequent sequels as necessary. And those are your fun facts.
Thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for The Notebook in 2004?
This was highly anticipated and probably very expensive. So I'm going to say $55 million.
Okay.
60.
You're both a little high. It was $30 million.
Oh, wow.
This looks good for 30 mil.
It does. If you adjust for inflation, that's almost $50 million today. Now, this movie came out on June 25th, 2004, and it was fourth that weekend. It was beat by, sorry, I didn't look at this before I just opened it, and the number one movie that weekend was Fahrenheit 9/11.
Uh-oh.
Number 2 was White Chicks. Number 3 was Dodgeball, a true underdog story. Number 4 was The Notebook, and number 5 was The Terminal.
Dodgeball.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And that beat The Notebook in its opening weekend. But what do you think The Notebook made in its opening weekend? And that was the weekend of June 25th, 2004.
This was a fucking huge movie.
Yeah.
I think that first weekend it made 19.
Okay.
I'm going to go high. I'm going to go 30.
Oof. Guys, it was fourth. Remember, it was fourth. So it brought in $13.4 million. The number one movie, Fahrenheit 9/11, made $23.9 million that weekend. So it was quite a bit less than that. Now, this did have a lot of stay power. In fact, it fell to 6th in its second week, largely because Spider-Man 2 premiered.
Oh, Spider-Man 2, the best one.
The best.
The most recent Spider-Mans are also really good.
But you mean out of the original trilogy?
Of the original trilogy, 2 is the best.
I don't think you'd have anyone argue with you on that. Now, in its third week, it went from, remember, it was 6th in its second week. It went back up to 5th. So, it had some stay power. I mean, it was in the top 10 for its first 5 weeks. That's pretty uncommon. It never got above 4th in the theaters, but it had pretty good stay power, and it was overall in theaters for a total of 22 weeks.
That's a long time.
I think DVD market, it destroyed.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
I don't have the figures on that, but it definitely did. What do you think it made domestically in the box office, though?
80.
100 mil, bro. 101.
You guys are very close, Paige. You're almost right on it. It was $81 million, almost exactly. Now, it also brought in $34.9 million internationally for a total of, Mikey, $115.9 million.
Nice.
So, I mean, on a $30 million budget, it brought in $115. That's a really good return on investment for this movie. It made both of them, I think, bona fide stars. And honestly, is a good, emotionally manipulative movie. I think it's probably one of his most successful, Nicholas Sparks, that is, emotionally manipulative movies. And that's something he excels at. But that's your box office. Mikey, you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Yeah, our romance scale 1 to 4. How romantic we found the film today, Paige.
I mean, I do believe that their relationship is pretty toxic.
It's pretty terrible, yeah.
So on a rewatch, romance scale wise, I maybe give it a 2, but Lion Roar, I'm going to give it closer to a 3.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a
Okay.
3 on both, and largely because this movie sort of cheats a little bit and lets you know that, like, they had a great love life together, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, you feel better about the toxic things they're doing because you know they figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is pretty sexy. They have a lot of chemistry. They really do.
I'm also going to give it a 3. I surprisingly thought it was good and romantic and sexy.
Mikey.
I know.
I mean, it's just unfortunate that one of the most romantic movies of our, like, childhood or coming of ages involves a murder-suicide plot.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think my theory stands. I will defend it with my life.
I don't think it is a theory. It is the truth. It's like the fact that all rocks are soft until you touch them.
I need to tweet the director.
That all rocks are soft till you touch them thing is so wild.
It's taken off, baby. I can't explain
You
it.
can never prove it.
Good luck.
Who's the director of this film?
David Cassavetes.
No, it's Nick Cassavetes.
Oh, you don't know him like I do, Paige. All his friends call him Dave. Yeah, it's Nick. My bad.
Nick Cassavetes.
Oh, Mikey, poke him.
That's a great idea.
Have you had any more returns on your pokage?
There's a lot of people poking. There's a lot of stuff going on. We need to get back to
A
it.
lot of poking back and forth.
People are doing it. People are saying it. Oh, God. You posted on your wall. I like that Andrea was like, don't do it.
I've already poked her like 4 times.
So that's our romance scale, I guess.
Oh, that's our romance scale.
Yes.
So this week, we made the listeners watch The Notebook. Paige, what are we going to make the listeners watch next week?
Next week, we're making the listeners and Andrea Gazzetta watch Booksmart.
Can't wait. So tune in next week when we have a special guest, Andrea Gazzetta, watching Booksmart with us.
I know it's more of a coming of age, but I love it.
I mean, we did Angus.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be similar vibes. So, Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
I definitely don't.
Well, why would you change now? So let me bring up our most recent Spotify review on our Forgetting Sarah Marshall episode, and I'll read that right now. This one's from Lively Lively, and they say, you know Todd is sick when he sounds like a normal human. And I find that offensive yet accurate. So, Mikey, whose review are you going to read for your last review?
Yeah, Angel Ray.
Well, what does Angel Ray have to say?
Romantic versus toxic.
Ooh, this is a very fitting title for this episode.
They say, I love listening to Paige, Todd, and Mikey's hilarious, informative input on this and Harvard and podcast. I really want to suggest adding a toxic scale.
Oh.
Most things would score a 10.
I feel like if we would have like a 1 to 4, it'd be a 4 on almost all of them.
Yeah.
Especially for the poorly ranked movies. I love the advice Paige gives on a strong, independent person and how she stresses that it is not our job to make others happy. There's a lot of exclamation points.
It's not your job.
In the After series, I really believe that it glorifies a woman needing to be a narcissist, an addict savior, and thank you for exposing that.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Did we expose that, or did Anna Todd expose that in her toxic book?
True.
Right.
I think this is more a lot about the After Ever Happy, worst title ever episode where I screamed about Harden for like a full hour and a half, and you guys are like, we agree with you. And I was like, no, this is for the people outside to hear about how bad this is.
Oh, like, yeah. Or like, no, he's pretty bad.
Yeah, he's terrible.
We need movies that show healthy all caps relationships and how we can get through hard things without taking on toxic traits. Thank you again for always keeping me company throughout the day. P.S. I am waiting for raccoon trash merch. 5 stars.
Yay.
Well, thank you very much, Angel Ray, for that awesome 5-star review. I have been working on a trash raccoon merch design for Romance in the Pod, but I haven't nailed it yet.
I think there's a graphic designer that I follow on Instagram that would nail it so perfectly. We should talk to them. I'll send you the link right now.
Yeah, I would 1000% prefer someone who's actually an artist to do it because I suck.
They specifically specialize in apparel too.
Hell yes. Send me their shit. I will commission that immediately. Anyway, Angel Ray, thank you so much for that awesome 5-star review, and thank you so much for that Spotify comment, Lively. And if you want to have us read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave one of those things and we'll do that next episode.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion.
I want to murder-suicide you all at the end of our days.
Oh, no.
What if we just like made this the last Romancing the Pod episode?
I mean,
That shit would be wild hilarious in a very meta way. Oh, Mikey, I'm going to miss you.
I'll miss you guys too.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you all.